Attention all business owners. Are you tired of managing your finances and taxes on your own? Let the experts at 1-800-TAXMASTERS help. Our team of experienced professionals offers a range of services to help you keep your finances in order, from personal and business tax returns to monthly accounting, quarterly and annual tax planning, and virtual controller and CFO services. With our virtual services, you can get the support you need without ever having to leave your office. Don't let taxes and finances stress you out any longer. Visit www.1800taxmasters.com today and let us handle the numbers so you can focus on growing your business. And welcome to another live episode. I am your host, Wize. I have a very special guest. She's a fellow podcaster, entrepreneur, international best-selling author, speaker, artist, educator, and coach. Wow, that was a lot. Welcome to the show, Larissa Russell.
Thank you. When you hear it like that, it is a lot, but it's just what I do every day.
Oh no. It's great to be able to have so many different titles. Like I've added titles throughout these 3 years of me podcasting. So I understand. I really do. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great today, actually. I'm doing really well. It's been a great week. Yeah.
That's
excited to
good.
be here.
I'm excited to have you. I'm really excited to have you. So you're a fellow podcaster. The name of your podcast is Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Tell us a little something about it.
I interview creatives and healers and people who have used creativity for their healing. So lots of great stories of how creativity helps us heal is essentially what it's about. And so, yeah, just amazing stories. We've been doing that for 4 years now. Yeah.
Wow, 4 years. That's long. It's been great for me. Like doing my podcast, I've grown so much in the 3 years since I've been doing my podcast. It's been a great experience. I love the fact that I get to sit down and just have some great conversations with people.
That's my favorite part, actually. I love it's all the back end stuff. I get my assistant to do a lot of that because it's not my favorite part. But I do love chatting with people and talking to people from all over the world and hearing their stories. And just, yeah, it's amazing to build those connections and have made some lifelong friends and business partners. So many things have come from that podcast. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. I definitely feel that because I've grown so many I've built and grown so many relationships in these 3 years. It's been amazing, and it's just the relationships I've built within the last year has helped my podcast and has helped me grow leaps and bounds. So I love the fact that I get to network and like last month I went to Podfest for the second time. I had a great time. It was a great experience. And just the fact that I got to sit down and actually got to sit down with a couple of people that were guests on my show and actually meet them in person was just an amazing. It was awesome to be able to just sit down and really get to meet this person live. And it's just those moments and those relationships that you build that are just amazing to me.
Yeah, it really is. And there's some people I absolutely can't wait to meet in person, and for that very reason, because it's just been an amazing experience to get to know them. Yeah.
Okay, so you're very into people healing themselves through creativity. Can you explain that? What is it that means to you?
Well, healing work is anything that we do to expand and grow, work through traumas, change what isn't working for us. And healing through creativity can look many different ways because creativity is different for everyone. And we often think we aren't creative, but we are. We're all creative. If you're a human being, you're creative in some way. So we'll just start there. So creativity can look different for everyone. We do a lot of writing. We do a lot of painting. We do a lot of really whatever works for someone else. So collage work, it's endless, the possibilities. And it could be gardening projects. It could be baking projects. we don't always do everything together, but it's about getting in touch with our creativity because it allows us to free up some of that headspace that we get caught in, right? Because when we can dip into that flow of creativity, we can get out of our head, and it allows us to start to move through things. Because when we're overthinking things, we get stuck, right? We just get in that loop and we can't do anything. And so creativity allows us to do that, but it also allows us to express, and that's why we use a lot of writing, so a lot of journaling prompts, writing stories, and painting, just to express whatever emotions, because we're often taught, I won't say often, in our society, emotions are not really acceptable. And, there's certain ones, men are allowed to be angry, women are allowed to be hysterical. Those are the ones that we expect. But we don't want, we get uncomfortable when people are emotional, even if they're too happy, or if they're sad. When my partner died, I lost so many friends because they just didn't know what to say, right? We're uncomfortable with emotions. And so if we can learn to express our emotions, and creativity allows us to do that, then we can move through them and not stuff them down, because stuffing them down is where we get stuck, right? So if we can allow ourselves to move through the emotions, then we can actually move forward.
I'm I'm sorry for your loss. I kind of know I lost my wife when I was 31 in a car accident, and
Yeah.
I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't have a creative outlet because honestly I didn't think I was creative at all. I didn't
Hmm.
I didn't think I played sports growing up, and I didn't really think of myself as a creative person. And then when I started podcasting, I was like, oh man, all these creative juices started flowing. I started designing logos, started doing thumbnails, started all these things that I didn't know I had inside of me, because I've always doubted my skills as far as being creative, as drawing or writing or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And being able to do my podcast has allowed me to really tap into that side of myself that I didn't know I had.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm sorry for your loss as well. I know what that feels like to lose someone. And that creative outlet, like I painted my way through that, right? Like I expressed through painting because that's my medium. But for everyone, they might have something different. It could be writing, it could be baking, um, it could be like I love creating spreadsheets and color coding them and doing all of that. It could be starting a business. Wherever you can think outside of the box and you can start to um, move things, move the energy, if you will, that's creative. And so creative doesn't have to be just writing a best-selling book, or, you know, your painting sells at a gallery, or, you're playing in an orchestra or a famous rock band. Creativity is in everything we do. And anytime that we can remove that box that we're constantly tried to be shoved into, um, we're being creative. So yeah.
Believe me, it's been an amazing. These 3 years have been amazing. Like the promo I played after the intro, I did that. I did the voiceover work for it. I did the video for it, and but it was something like, if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would have been able to do something like that, I
Hmm.
would have laughed, because it wasn't something I was into. It wasn't something that I wasn't into. I wasn't into audio, video, any of the things that I'm into now that I actually find that I really do enjoy and love doing.
Hmm.
It's being able to it allows me to express myself. It allows me to really podcasting has given me an outlet to actually be it's therapy for me,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
after I went through whatever I went through, I went to therapy. I spoke to therapists, sought the help that I needed. But eventually, sometimes you need another outlet. You need something else to help you as well. It's great to have someone to talk to, but sometimes you need that outlet where you can just be yourself, be and
Hmm.
not have to worry about anyone else, what they're thinking, or just being able to just come on and express yourself and do you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have to say, for the amount of podcasts that I've been on, and there's been a lot, you have the slickest setup. So, be proud of yourself for what you've done there. Because I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
But it's because I've put all right. So when I first started, I didn't have any of this. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have any of the setups that I had. But once I knew that podcasting was something I wanted to do, I invested in myself. I invested in quality equipment. I invested in a camera. I invested in StreamYard because these are tools that you can use that makes it much easier for me to produce my show.
Mm-hmm.
And and so when I really truly felt like this was something I really wanted to do, I felt, okay, let me invest in myself because the people that are listening to me are investing in me. They're investing their time in me by listening to the podcast. So I want to give them the best quality that I can give them. I want to try and improve on any aspect that I know that I'm lacking in because time is precious. And by them listening to my podcast, viewing my podcast, sharing any of my content, they're sharing something very important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think anytime that people um, share like that, right? Share their authentic self like you're doing, or the people you're having conversations with, that is when people are willing to invest, right? Because they
Yeah.
want to be a part of that. They want to know more. And that's what I love about podcasts, is that gives you and I the option to do this, right? We don't
Yeah.
need an agent. We don't need to be the best. We can just share our stories. We can
Mhm.
share what we're passionate about, and people can resonate with that or not. And I just love that.
I don't have the backing of a Spotify or Apple or anything. I'm an independent podcaster,
Mhm.
but my podcast is one of the top rated podcasts in its niche, and it's because of the work that I put into it. It's the consistency. It didn't start off that way. It was a lot of work building it up to get people to come on to the show even to I remember when I first started, people turned me down, like, oh no, you don't have the right numbers for me, or this or that. And so I just kept at it, kept doing it, kept being consistent, kept improving, kept wanting to learn more. I started joining groups, started all different things to find guests. I joined Podmatch, which I recommend to anyone who's into podcasting. And because one of the things that is hard for podcasters, especially if it's an interview based podcast,
Mhm.
guest is something that's very hard for you to get, especially in the niche that you want to find them in. And so I started looking at taking these tools, using them, applying them to what I was doing, and it's helped me out so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think anytime that we embrace what we're passionate about, or, can really invest ourselves and our energy into that creative outlet, that's exactly what happens, right? And it grows. Anytime you're creative, it just brings more creativity, more and more and more. So it helps heal always. And so it just helps you grow and move and decide what's best for you in the world, and look at the skills you've learned as well, just while you're doing that, right?
Yeah.
Amazing things.
It's like I was able to monetize. I tell people I was able to monetize myself before I was able to monetize my podcast.
Mhm.
And I say that because of the skills that I learned from doing my podcast. I was able to offer those services to other people. I know it's a pain in the butt to edit a podcast. I know it's a pain to edit your video. I know it's a pain to be creative and do thumbnails all the time and or design graphics or whatever. So I was like, okay, people don't want to do this. I want to do it. I enjoy doing it. Why not get paid to do it?
Mhm.
And so I've been paid to edit some people's podcasts. I've been paid to produce people's podcasts. And it's like I said, I've been able to monetize myself. And if I can show other people how to do that, because people think that, oh, I got to get in and I'm gonna get 10,000 downloads off the back and get all these great sponsors. It's like, no. It's a nice dream, but yeah, that's not how it works.
Get out there and share your passion. It's about sharing your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you're passionate about, just get out there and share that. And you resonate with people, and you connect with people in different ways. Like I said, I've had guests that I now co-own a business with, that I'm putting programs together with. I've co-authored books with. So many different things from, guests that I've had. So yeah, it just opens up the doors.
So how many books have you written?
Um, uh, the international bestseller, it was a co-authored book. I have two other short books, and then I have two journals as well, and I'm working on two other books right now.
Okay,
So
awesome.
yeah. So
That's,
four, five out there, and two more on in the works. One a fiction and one a nonfiction. My fiction, I have to say, it's interesting because I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but so I've had this idea in my head for like 10 years of this fiction book, and I'm a really good technical writer.
yeah.
I write really good content, technical content. And so fiction is not really my thing. I can share my story, but fiction, not so much. But I've had this idea for so long. And when ChatGPT got really popular like a month or 6 weeks ago, I'm
Yes.
like, I'm just going to see what happens. So I put my idea in. I'm like, if you write me a scene with these characters and this is happening, and it writes a scene, and I'm like, oh, and then I take that so I'm like, well, maybe I can actually write fiction with help.
Oh, let's okay.
I'm
So,
addicted to ChatGPT.
oh, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. Um, Actually, the description for this episode was written with ChatGPT.
I just taught a course on our business side, because we have Creative View Business to help business owners who are in the creative fields, heart-centered businesses, to thrive and grow their businesses. And so I just taught a class on ChatGPT, and I wrote the whole thing. I wrote the outline, the bullet point script, all from ChatGPT. I
Oh,
will preface, you have to know what you're talking about with ChatGPT.
oh no,
You
you have to
do.
put you have to put in
Yeah.
the right description. You have to put
Yeah.
in the keywords in order for to spit out what you want it to spit out. That's
Yeah.
You're not just gonna be like, all right, write me a description for. If you don't put no details into it, it's gonna be very vague. So
Yeah.
yes, I've learned that if yes, Chat GPT writes it out for you, but you really do have to be specific on what you want
Yeah,
to
and you
tell
have
it.
to know your topic too, because it
Yes.
makes stuff up all the time. You you're like, what? That is not
Where
true.
the hell did that come from? But I haven't had that problem because I've been very detailed with what I put into it and what I wanted to kind of and it's done. I've okay, so I plan on releasing a course eventually,
Mhm.
and I've already started a process with ChatGPT, and it's outlined. It's given me the whole course completely with segments and everything, and I'm like, oh my, oh my god, this is just
Yeah.
a game changer. And
Yes.
when a friend introduced this to me in November,
Mhm.
he told me about. He's like, "Yo, this. You got to get on this. You need to start using this." And it took me to last month to really start like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
real.
When it was
This
down
is
yesterday, I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself, because it was like, uh,
okay. So I kind
just
of all right. So
anyways, yes.
so because one of the things that I did invest was I invested in a pro package of
Me
it.
too. Yeah.
So yes, it did go down, but it wasn't down as bad as it was for other people.
Yeah.
Eventually it came, but yeah. If for everybody out there, yes, the free version is great, but
Yeah.
when you're having technical issues, sometimes I'm able to get on. So
Yes. Yeah, I was able to get in the back end when other
yes,
people couldn't. And I
yeah.
have to say, some people, like when I was teaching the class, I people were like, no, it's like just, you know, taking away creativity. And I'm like, no, it's actually enhancing creativity, because it makes, like, it looks at things that you wouldn't have thought of. And then you can go, Oh my goodness, and then that sparks so many different ideas because creativity begets creativity.
I've had
So
marketers, like people like, oh, they're gonna take away marketing jobs. I'm like, I know marketers that this is their best friend.
yeah,
This is something that like, oh my God, what has this been at all my life? And they're like, is a tool. To me, it's a tool to be used. People don't look at it as a tool. I look at it as a tool to be used to help me improve what I'm doing on
yeah,
whatever I'm doing. And
mhm,
so I'm not looking at it as, oh, it's gonna take away someone's job. No, because if you use it properly, it's gonna enhance your job. It's gonna make it so much more
mhm.
so that you can actually probably gain more clients from it or build your business from it because it's a tool that's really out there. That's to me, it's like I said, is a game changer.
Yeah, it really is. I love it. I am a little addicted, and I use it. Anything I'm going to write, I'm going to put it through first and be like, oh, that's actually what I meant to say.
I feel you because I'm kind of addicted on it too. Whenever I'm like, oh man, I'm stuck on something. Oh, let me see what Chat GPT can come up.
And don't tell anyone, but I even asked it for 100 reasons why I love my wife for Valentine's Day because I was trying to come up with ideas too.
I didn't, I didn't think about that.
Yes.
I should, I should have thought about that. Like, I need ideas of what gifts to get her because
Yeah,
it's so. Like, how do you get someone who has almost everything? Like,
yeah.
she
That's
says, "Oh, you could just give me a card on my like," but what do you really get someone like that?
yeah, yeah. See, I put together a really nice, 100 reasons. It came up with about 40 I could use, but it really helped, like, kickstart my brain so that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I got this.
Well, we did. We actually we celebrated a couple of days later because she was away at work, and we just went. I got a hotel room at this local casino, and we had dinner, played some slots, had a good time, had some laughs, and then headed back to our room, and then went home in the morning. But it was sometimes it's just the simple things. We just to get away with and enjoy each other's company is we enjoy that a lot. So
Yeah, yeah. I prefer that to looking for the perfect gift and all of those things. Yeah. I'm, I'm so not that person.
oh
Yeah,
man, yeah, you and me both.
yeah.
I'm sometimes I'm stuck on what to get her. She can be
Mhm.
very
Yeah.
yeah.
Ask
I,
ChatGPT.
I
I'm sure it
can't go
has
wrong.
an
I
answer.
can't go wrong. I know I can't go wrong with a handbag. I know that for sure.
Okay.
I know that for sure. Like if I really wanted to, the go-to gift is either her perfume or a handbag. She would prefer a handbag, but yeah,
Yeah. Perfume is often cheaper.
yeah, it is. It is. But okay, so tell us about at 50 you was diagnosed with something. What tell people what you was diagnosed with.
I was diagnosed with autism at 50 years old. So it turns out that maybe the depression I had been suffering with my whole life wasn't actually depression. It was sensory overload because as an autistic person, your senses are heightened to certain things, and it's different for everybody. It's not the same for everyone. So certain noises for me, repetitive noises are really bad for me, and there's so many different things. Our brain is just wired differently, and then last year, then I was diagnosed with attention deficit. It's like, oh wow, that would have been good to know when I was trying to get through university, and it took me 10 years because it was like so hard. These are the things that would be good to know, but they're just in the last maybe 10 years starting to recognize that women actually have autism, and that we present differently like many other um, health issues, neurological issue, whatever it is, right? We we present differently, and so they're
Uh,
just starting to figure it out.
I definitely have to introduce you to my friend Sarah. Everyone in her family is on the spectrum, including herself, and she has a great show, the SJ Childs Show, and she's a big advocate for autism. And I think y'all would definitely do a great show together because I love her. She's a wonderful person. You have great energy, so I'm gonna set that up so y'all could definitely link up because she's someone I think you and her would have a great show together.
I would love that. Yeah. Yeah. And I talk about my autism a lot, like being on the spectrum, neurodiversity, a lot, because I think a lot of creatives are neurodiverse and they don't recognize it because it's not our society and, how we recognize things or how we diagnose things is really still quite flawed. So we, may not recognize that we're neurodiverse, but most of the creatives that I talk to, I would diagnose them as neurodiverse because it's like, oh yeah, you have some of it because they say all these things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, yep. So there's a lot of that there.
Well, this past month they actually diagnosed my grandson with autism. So we're in the process now of getting him the help that he needs.
Hmm.
He's 4 years old and he doesn't speak yet. He doesn't speak yet, and loud noises is he's that's
Yeah,
so that's one of his triggers is loud noises, and so we're learning this. We're learning now, and I'm just glad that we are able to finally get him diagnosed, and now we can really truly get him the help he needs.
yeah, because it would have made all the difference. And I recognize that my parents couldn't have gotten me diagnosed. It was not even an accepted, like, girls didn't get autism, like it was not a thing. We did, it just wasn't recognized. So it's not like I blame my parents for not getting me diagnosed or the schools or it, but it would have changed my life if I had known, right? Because things could have been done so differently and I would not have been in trauma response all the time. And as women or girls, we tend to mask our, because we'll mimic what's going on around us. So I got myself into a lot of situations in my life that were not the healthiest for me because I was always referring to somebody else for the right thing to do. And that happens a lot with women who have been on the spectrum and undiagnosed, is that they end up in these situations that are not really healthy or safe because they're trying to navigate based on what other people are saying and doing. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's awesome. Is I'm glad that you know now, and that you're willing to share your story, because not like we were saying before, a lot of people are afraid to share their stories, are afraid to be themselves because they don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
judged by other people. They don't want other people to put them in a category that, like, it to me it's being able to tell your story. You don't know whose life you're going to be able to impact,
Mm-hmm.
because they might see this and be like, oh man, maybe that's my was be wrong with me, or they're just ashamed to let anybody know that they're autistic because they don't want people to judge them or say. So
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have you share your story and let people know that, hey, it's okay. The world is full of people that are autistic. Let's just work on finding the proper diagnosis for people, and helping them n- not have to go through what you went through in life.
Yeah, I think the biggest part is just opening doors so that we can navigate the world in a way that works for us, as opposed to stop trying to shove us in that box that we don't fit in, right? Because it causes so much stress in the body and causes so many health issues. And I know women are typically diagnosed with depression and anxiety before they're diagnosed with autism. And so I'm now realizing that those symptoms were not depression and anxiety, but were actually that sensory overload. And so that's huge, right? We just are constantly putting people in these little boxes and when we don't fit there. Yeah.
And that's everyone. Like, we're not meant to be in boxes. We're meant to be able to be free and be able to be ourselves. But society wants to conform us to what they feel we should be. And
Yeah.
that's just not right. That's why I I have the platform that I do because I want people to come on to be themselves, to share their stories, and not have to worry about being put in a box. Because on here, everyone is the same. We're all on the same. We're all on the same footing. We just have different. We've just had different experiences in life.
Yeah. And I think if we can just all be a little more compassionate to the fact that, you know, we're all trying our best, or most of us are trying our best, and we really are just trying to navigate the world, and we're not out to make your life difficult, or, if we cut you off in traffic, it's not because we hate you, it's because we got distracted and we did a stupid thing. And, if we um, whoever it is, whatever it is, right? Like, we're all just trying our best. I just think the traffic one, because that happens so often, but we just get so upset, road rage. But we're all just trying to navigate the world, and if we can just all give a little bit of compassion and kindness to each other, I think that would make all the difference. Yeah. I think you're muted.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Sorry, sorry, I missed that.
It happened. But it would be a different world if people would look at it that way. If people would be able to accept that people are different, and not try to make them change for any reason.
Yeah, yeah. I work with mostly with women, and we really work on mindset, because culturally we are lesser than, right, as women, and other minorities as well, person of color, LGBTQ plus, um, immigrants, like whatever your minority in our um, white man culture is, you are considered lesser than. And I work with women to sort of try and empower them to recognize how much um, value they actually have, because we really are undervalued. Well, everybody, unless you're, a rich white man, you're pretty much undervalued in our society. So how can we build each other up to give each other the best opportunity to move through this world, this life that we have, in the happiest way, in the most um, powerful and empowered way, so that we can do the best for ourselves, our families, what we want from this life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I I've come to the agreement to the thing now where happiness, I don't let anyone interfere with my happiness. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And but it was a point at a time where I would give two people too much power, and I would give them too much power because they would interfere with my happiness. And when you do that, it's just it's ridiculous. So I'm at the point where I could care less what people think or say. It's their opinion. It's fine with me, but I don't let anyone interfere with me being happy or me wanting to do what I want to do, because it's just I'm over it. I'm over the fact that I no longer want to be miserable. I choose to be happy. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy these moments, and be able to share this energy with other people.
Right. Yeah. And I think what you just said there is really important, because you choose that, and you choose the thoughts you have, so that you can have that happiness, right?
Hmm.
And we often get caught thinking that the circumstance is what's causing our feeling, but the circumstance has nothing to do with it. It's our thought which causes the feeling. So I use the example of, like, that house fell over. So you could be really upset that that house fell over, and, why did it fall over? And now all the houses are going to fall over, and now I'm stressed, and now I'm upset. Or you could be like, wow, that's weird. That house fell over, and go on with your day. Right. So what you think about that house falling over is completely up to you. And then that thought generates that feeling. that feeling then generates an action. You might be hiding in your house afraid to go out because all the houses are going to fall, or you'd be like, it doesn't even,
Concern
register.
you, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that then um, generates the result, which is I never leave my house. The world is out to get me, or, I'm just going on my day happy, everything's fine. So, really thinking about how we think about things is really important.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you. Okay, so I've been interviewing guests Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Um, but I'm changing it. Mondays, I'm no longer going to interview a guest. It's going to be more focusing towards mindset. It's going to be a segment I called Mindset Mondays, because I want to get into coaching, and I want to show people that I know what I'm talking about. It's a segment that I want to be able to show people, like, hey, I'm coaching now. I know what I'm talking about. It's not just nonsense or gibberish. I want to be able to show people, hey, I am capable of saying what I am, saying that I am a coach. And so just to be able to focus on that, and just being able to, I guess it's just the evolution of me, from where I started as just as a podcaster, and to where I'm going now, to now where I'm really, really, because I didn't have structure to my show. So now I'm really focusing on structuring my show to show my capabilities, and to show what I have coming down the line as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And coaching, that's one of the things, is about getting yourself out there, right? So that people
Yeah.
know you. It's that know, like, trust factor, which is
Mhm.
so important on the internet, and sharing what you have. I can tell people repeatedly for free, the same things that I would tell them in a coaching session, but somehow they're registered differently when they're paying you, right? But I share a lot of my, um, I don't know, tips, tricks, thinking, how I do things all the time with people, because I think it's so important, whether you can pay for it or not, that you have access to life changing, um, thought changing ways.
Yeah.
And but I will, of course, dive deeper in with you if you want to. The I think the biggest takeaway for anyone, whether you're being coached or not. I mean, I'm a huge fan of coaching. I get coached, coaching and therapy both. I think they have a place, and I
Hmm.
love them. But it's all on you. Everybody's always looking for that answer outside of them, and it hasn't. Like, you're not going to find it. It's all in you. You have
Hmm.
the answers. You get to decide if you're happy or not. You get to decide if you're going to hang on to those traumas. You get to decide. And if you keep seeking people to fix you, you will never get there. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. No, no. Yes, you're right. Yes, I don't look as coach. I don't look at it as I need a
Mhm.
coach to fix me.
Yeah.
I look at it as more, I need a coach to help me, guide me through this phase of my life at this point. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm a big proponent for you coaching. Listen, some of the Denzel Washington has a coach. He has an acting coach. He is one of the greatest actors alive. Um, Tony Robbins, one of the greatest speakers in the world, he has coaches.
Mhm.
Everyone has coach. It's if you think you're gonna get through this without someone helping you. So that's what. Okay, so
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, people say it's very lonely, right?
Mhm.
But to me, if you do it the right way, it doesn't have to be.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. It's one of the reasons I've started the business side, and we have a membership so that people can get together. But I also belong to a mastermind. I have for years, because those relationships are so important. Networking through my podcast, through the summits I host, through the courses, is vital, because you can't do this by yourself. I mean, you can, but you're going to be miserable.
Hmm.
So having people, sometimes it's helping with an idea, sometimes it's helping with a skill, sometimes it's just cheering you on, like, you got this, I know you've got this. Those are the things that you need people for. Coaches, other people to be in your life and acknowledge the difficulties and and cheer you on, while also pointing you in directions like, did you think of this? I just shared I've built probably 100 landing pages. I just shared a landing page today with my mastermind, and they're like, oh, what about this, what about this? I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Right, because we can always learn, we can
Yeah.
always learn. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so I've been doing videos and doing voiceover work and all this stuff, but I have someone that I'm learning from, and anytime I do a project, he's the first person I send it to, and he'll be like, "Okay, maybe you do this, tweak this here, tweak," and I don't have an ego, so I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good. That actually works. Let me let me tweak that. Let me fix that there." And that's with anything. Anytime anyone gives me criticism, I don't get upset about it. I take it, and then I if I feel that it's relevant, or if I feel like what they're saying actually makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
then I have no problem applying it to what I'm doing.
Yeah, and if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm just like, okay.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it's like I don't take offense to that either. I'm
no,
just like, okay.
no, not at all, not at all.
Yeah, no, just but yeah, that's how we get through these things, is together. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Larissa, this has been great. I know we were supposed to record, I think last month or something, but
Last
something
month,
came
yeah,
up.
and we had a bit of
Yeah,
a family emergency,
yeah,
so.
yeah. So, thank you so much for being on the show. But now it's time of the show where you get to the solo screen. It's all you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Plug
I real
away.
I really enjoyed our conversation, but I also want to invite people. I have Creative You Healing, Creative You Business, and we work with people to empower. We mostly work with women to empower best selves. And you can find us at creativeviewhealing.com and creativeviewbusiness.com. And then we also have all the social medias under the same name. And I think just my sort of last thought, right? I could sell myself. You'll find me. Just look up Larissa Russell Creative You. You're going to find me. But I just want you to think about, and you, the people listening, and wise as well, just what do you want from life, and what are you willing to do to get that? Because we often think we can't have what we want, but really what happens is fear gets in the way. And so if we could just allow ourselves the possibility that we can have whatever we want, we just have to move through fear to get there. And so just something to ponder. What are you willing to give up to get what you want? Yeah.
That was good. That was a good nugget right there. That was a really good gem. Oh, that's something I'm definitely gonna clip and share. Oh no, because it made sense. It's kind of so when I started the podcast, before even starting the podcast, fear was one of the
Mhm.
reasons I didn't start. Fear of people making fun of I don't sound right, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or who's gonna want to listen, whatever kept getting in my brain to stop me from recording would jump in there.
Mhm.
And so I finally decided to, when I did press record and decided to actually upload it and release it, it was a different animal now, because now I took that fear and I no longer had it, and now I'm just like just creating content, create this
Mhm.
recording,
Yeah.
recording, recording, and it was basically me being afraid of failure, but I was already failing because I wasn't doing it.
Yeah. So And that's a really good point, right? Like, and we use this fear of failure, but really what it is that our brains are hardwired to deter us from anything that we might die, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be afraid of anything unknown. So we no longer have that saber-toothed tiger, and I know we're wrapping up, but we no longer have that saber-toothed tiger that we have to be concerned with. So our brain finds new things, and it's like anything new, I'm afraid. And so you're going to procrastinate. You're going to find 100 reasons. You're going to get sick. That was a big one for me. You're going to, all of these things, and you're not even recognizing the fear. But really, your brain just doesn't want anything new to happen because you might die. You're not going to die if you start a podcast. So, like, what can you do? What's one step you can do to get out of that fear and start towards it, or whatever your dream is? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, definitely. Thank you so much, Larissa, for being a part of the show. This has been great. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. It's to me, it's just being able to have these conversations and share it out there and put it out there. It's what I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is my passion, being able to share my podcast with everyone out there and being able to bring the guests that I have on, and I love it. It's just the energy, just the and just sometimes the comments that you get from people when they see an episode that resonates with them and they hit you up and be like, "Thank you, I needed that."
Yeah.
Those are the comments I love the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that too. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's been great, but don't leave just yet. I'm about to close out the show, but we're gonna chat a little bit after. But
Mm-hmm.
just hold on.
Okay.
All right, so now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to everybody out there in YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. Big shout out to Ben from the BS3 Network. Big shout out to my partner in crime, Bobby J. Big shout out to Brandy J. Big shout out to the boss lady Fina. Love you and appreciate you, baby. Big shout out to our guest, Larissa Russell, for coming through and dropping that gem, even though the whole episode was one big gem. So that definitely need to check. If you catch when you catch the replay, it's gonna be great. Or if you really missed something before, catch the replay. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know your boy Wise does it. Peace out.